Well, we need to know a couple of things. Number one, we need to know how the world's premier law enforcement agency managed to lose 5 months worth of text. And what's also troubling is in the text we do have, they're discussing how to avoid text being captured and secured. So what's missing is important, but also what's there is important. It is manifest bias, not just against Trump, but against his kids, against his business interests. There's a text where they hope the Trump hotel fails. That is a level of bias that you rarely see and you never see from law enforcement officers. What's also troubling to me is this text that Johnny Ratcliffe found last night about this secret society. Now, I have no clue what that means because that was not the phraseology I used, but it's the day after the election. And it's the same two people that were discussing a little bit later in the text the damage they had done with the Clinton investigation and how they could, quote, fix it and make it right.
What's out there? Hello everyone, today is Tuesday, March 27th, 2018. I'm Papa Bear, and well, this is what's out there. We are on, just coming right up front, we're on LateNightInTheMidlands.com, LNMRadioNetwork.com, and 101.7 WCET, Columbia Talk. There's so much going on. What I do want to let you know is there is a rumor going on that there will be shortly what they call a currency reset, a global currency reset. Now, I know people are going to say, oh, Papa, you've talked to me about this before. We've heard it all before. I get it, right? Well, here it is, Easter weekend coming up, right? Good Friday. The banks are down Friday. The banks are down Monday. And, of course, they're down Sunday. You think they're not going to take Saturday, too? Maybe. Special drawing rights have already been determined to be gold and silver backed. It's SDRs. It's what the countries are, the nations are trading with now. And they're basically, they've switched away from what you might call a common currency, which would be a dollar or any type of single currency. Now everything is in a basket of currencies, and those are special drawing rights, or SDRs. Now China and Britain and or Russia, Brazil, you know, the BRICS nations, they're all trading in gold, gold-backed SDRs. So in order for us to comply, we're going to have to do it too. Now, if you look at the picture, what's going on, you kind of take it in. Something is happening with North Korea. All of a sudden, things have calmed down. They're ready to trade. We've been talking with China, okay, people in China, South Korea. We have pretty much Asia locked up. The next place to go from here is Iran and lock down the Middle East. I think we're going to have some trouble with Turkey, just my honest opinion. Turkey, and I think Saudi Arabia is done because most of their kings have been taken out. One was put back, and if you notice that these full body coverings that their women have to wear, well, they don't have to wear those anymore, as long as they adhere to what they call respectful attire. Okay, that means, I guess, they can't, how would they classify indecent exposure? I mean, the women have never had the right to drive over there. And, of course, you can't see their face. If you can see their eyes, it's one thing, but that's the whole culture with those people. So, but they've loosened that up. But anyway, Iran is the next thing, and then of course Russia. We're going back and forth with Russia, and I don't believe them to be a hostile nation. And the reason why I say that is because there were many deals, several deals, one in particular, where they were actually set up to buy 20% of our uranium. And when you talk about uranium, that's the stuff they use for weaponry. Okay, you can also use it for power plants, nuclear power plants and such. It has a lot of uses, multiple uses. But the fact that they're getting 20% of our uranium doesn't say much, because the uses could or could not be nefarious. You just don't know. It's too iffy. So, but anyway, my advice would be that before the weekend, that make sure you're stocked up on some dry foods, okay? Beans, rice, things that aren't going to go bad. Anything you can get that's dehydrated and you can pull together and make a meal, do that. Also prepare for any kind of defense, just in case, stuff does hit the fan. You could be down for a couple of weeks. If you're in the city, try to make a plan to, go visit somewhere out in the country for the weekend and, see what things have in store. If you can do that. It's going to be a surprise. No one tells anybody up front, okay? It just doesn't happen that way. But I've been watching the Q posts, and the clock has started, and the border wall has been written into the omnibus bill. Now, I want to also go over this omnibus bill, too, because a lot of people don't understand what's going on. Oh, Trump screwed us, 6 ways to Sunday. Well, it didn't happen that way. What happened was that when they put money into the defense contracts, what they kind of overlooked, or what a lot of people are overlooking, is that the people working on the border wall are the Army Corps of Engineers, which falls in with the military. So a lot of that military funding can go back into the wall. Okay. You see, the thing is, Trump is not a dumb man. He's very smart. He's very crafty. And everything was in there that was done. It was crafted. It's only a 6-month bill. It isn't the full budget. And there's a reason why the Democrats never ran a full budget, is because when you do a full budget, you don't have appropriations. The president doesn't get to account for all the money goes. It's already gone. When you do an omnibus bill, the president gets to dictate where the money goes, where it's spent. So this wasn't, this is the way the game is played. And if you're going to play the game, you have to play by the rules. And apparently, or what it looks like, what it appears to be, is a very crafty game of 4D chess. You've got a lot of people who are mad now, and then you've got some other people, which surprises me. They're getting caught. But the goal thing, if you've got, don't put all your eggs in one nest. Okay, you know how it goes. Don't put everything in one basket. If you have anything in the bank, you might want to keep some in the bank just in case. But it's a good idea to have some cash on hand, because if the crunch comes down to it, and it takes a couple of weeks, you might need that to fall back on. You can also get some pretty horrendous deals during that time too. If anybody knows how the Depression went, a lot of people made their money during the Depression, got a lot of their wealth during the Depression because, well, they had something that was worth something to a lot of other people. And in most cases, it was gold and silver. An ounce of gold could have got you a city block. So there are some things to take into consideration. This is a bad thing on one end, and it's a good thing on the other. It depends on how well you plan. So this is something that you probably should have had planned in the works for a while. It's always good to prepare, because you don't know if it's coming or not. And granted, no one is promised tomorrow. But if you make it to tomorrow, no one's promised to make it through without preparation. So even if you're preparing for family members, things like that, that also is the same. But anyway, let me get past that. Florida cops laundered millions. Florida cops laundered millions for drug cartels, and they failed to make a single arrest. What happened was they were posing as money launderers. The police in Bal Harbour and Glades County, Florida, they laundered $71.5 million for drug cartels in an undercover sting operation, according to an in-depth operation by the Miami Herald. With fake identities, undercover officers made deals to pick up cash from criminal organizations in cities across the country. Agents then delivered the money to Miami-Dade storefronts and even wired cash to banks overseas in China and Panama. After laundering the cash, police would skim a 3% commission fee, ultimately generating $2.4 million for themselves. I think if you think of all the money that's made from drugs, at some point it has to be cleaned up and become legit, remarked Finn Silander, a former DEA agent and a member of Law Enforcement Against Prohibition, LEAP. But unless proper precautions are taken, sting operations can backfire and, come back and bite you in the proverbial ass. Together, the Bal Harbour Police Department and the Glades County Sheriff's Office formed the Tri-County Task Force, which, despite the name, consisted of only 2 agencies. From 2010 to 2012, the task force passed on information and tips to federal agencies that led to the government seizing almost $30 million. Yet, the undercover unit laundered over $70 million for the drug cartels, more than twice as much as what was actually taken off the streets. Okay, notably, the Tri-County Task Force never made a single arrest. The task force countered that assertion, claiming they passed on intelligence that led to over 200 arrests made by other agencies. But a representative from the DEA said, "There's no way we can validate those numbers. We have no idea what they're basing those numbers on." Tellingly, the task force did not document the names of the 200 people who were arrested. Well, thanks to the commissions from money laundering, the task force could indulge in a lavish lifestyle. Officers enjoyed $1,000 dinners at restaurants in the Miami area. They spent $116,000 on airfare and first-class flights and nearly $60,000 for hotel accommodations, including stays at the Bellagio and the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas, and El San Juan Resort and Casino in Puerto Rico. Police also spent over $100,000 on iPads, computers, laptops, and other electronics. They bought a new Jeep Grand Cherokee for $42,000 and even purchased $25,000 worth of weaponry, including FN P90 submachine guns. Bal Harbour, a seaside village of 2,500 residents, known for having the nation's top sales-generating mall, reported just one violent crime in 2012. Okay. Initially, to gain seed capital to conduct the sting operations, Bal Harbour tapped into equitable sharing, a federal asset forfeiture program. Under equitable sharing, cash, cars, and real estate can all be forfeited to the government, even if there's an alleged nexus between the criminal activity and the property involved, though criminal convictions or indictments are not necessary. As Michael Sala, the investigative reporter for the Herald who broke the story, noted, the Tri-County Task Force's entire sting operation could not have existed without the DOJ's equitable sharing program. In fact, Dwayne Potorf, the chief law enforcement at the Glades County Sheriff's Office, was remarkably candid about his agency's motivations in joining the task force. He says, "We thought this was a chance to bring more revenue. Forfeiture money allowed us to have resources that normally we wouldn't have, including patrol cars, vests, guns for deputies, ammunition. All this, the training room, the training equipment, is all paid for with forfeiture funds." Okay? So that's where your money goes. They'll pull you over. See, the thing is, there are certain things that they look for. Okay? And when they look for out-of-state plates, They'll profile you based on your race, okay, race or profiling, license plates. If you're from out of state, chances are they're going to pull you over, okay, just because you're from out of state. That's the way they do things. They want to look through your car, and we have the duty, we, the people, have the duty to take this stuff back. We need to take it back. We need to say, look, you're violating my rights. Stop it. Have a nice day. Go do something useful. Go where you have jurisdiction. Go mess with your own people. I'm driving through, minding my own business. I have an out-of-state plate, and you say, oh, look, there's Easy Prey. We're going to take everything he's got, and then we're going to divvy it up and not even charge him with anything, right? That's basically what they're doing. And now, I'm not sure exactly what's going on here, but if anybody knows what's going on with the oil industry, oil is used for practically everything. It's used for making plastics. It's used in the pharmaceutical industry. I mean, you look around, everything is made of plastic. Everything, okay? That takes a lot of oil. And then you've got your oil-based fuels, your gas, diesel, heating fuels, things like that. All the petroleum-based stuff, there's a lot of it out there. Well, Mitch McConnell wants to legalize hemp. And do you know how much of that oil-based stuff that hemp will replace? And never mind just the oil-based stuff. How about the paper? Okay, the wood-based paper? Or fabrics even, with cotton, polyester. All right. Yeah, the head of the U.S. Senate announced Monday that he will be filing a bill to legalize industrial hemp and allocate federal money for cultivation. Okay? He says, we are all so optimistic that industrial hemp can become sometime in the future what tobacco was in Kentucky's past, although for a different reason, right? Yeah. Anyway, he says, I'll be introducing, when I go back to the Senate a week from today, legislation to finally legalize hemp as an agricultural commodity and remove it from the list of controlled substances. McConnell has successfully attached language to broader legislation, such as the 2014 Farm Bill and annual spending packages that shield state industrial hemp research programs from federal agencies and their interference. But confusion over what counts as research, as well as issues related to the interstate transportation of hemp seeds, has caused confusion, as the DEA has in some cases sought to enforce federal laws that don't distinguish between hemp and marijuana. A press release from McConnell's office said the new bill will not only reclassify hemp under federal law, but it will also give hemp researchers the chance to apply for competitive federal grants from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and that will allow them to continue their work with the support of federal research dollars. At the event, right, was where he was speaking. And where was this? He was speaking at a press conference alongside the state's agricultural commissioner. Anyway, at that event, he said some challenges remain today between the federal government and farmers and producers in Kentucky, arguing that his new bipartisan legislation would remove the roadblocks altogether by recognizing in federal statute the difference between hemp and its illicit cousin. He added that he would soon be discussing the issue with U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions, or a longtime vocal opponent of cannabis law reform, who this year rescinded Obama-era guidance that has generally allowed the state to implement their own marijuana legalization laws without federal interference. Now, you see, I've got a problem here with this because the government has no say over what can be legal and what can't. All right, as far as marijuana or pot, things like that, they can't do that. The only thing they can do is they can regulate commerce, and that's what goes over state lines. Inside the state, they have no control over it all. Okay. So that's pretty much it. And I don't know why they keep going at it. And in the states say, well, we have a lot of the states, like the state I'm in, Maine, they just legalized it. If you can't sell it or buy it. All right, there's no commercial aspect of it yet, which is why they've done it this way, basically to kind of shield themselves from the feds. It doesn't involve commerce. Okay. So something here from Zero Hedge. The stocks plunge into the red after the U.S. plans emergency curbs on Chinese investments. Okay, this is telling you something about the money market. All right. Confirming Wilbur Ross' earlier comments, Bloomberg reports that the Trump administration is considering a crackdown on Chinese investments in technologies the U.S. considers sensitive by employing a law reserved for national emergencies, among other options, according to people familiar with the matter. The investment curbs would be the latest step in President Trump's plan to punish China for what the U.S. sees as a violations of American intellectual property rights. And the stocks have plunged back into the red. Copyrights, okay, you know what happens? Everything goes to Japan. They do their or China. They do our manufacturing. They back engineer, reverse engineer stuff and send it back out, right? Okay. Anyway, back to the write up here from Zero Hedge. As we detailed earlier, after all the hard work of Mnuchin and Navarro, happy talking stocks higher yesterday. Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross may have begun the process of reality checking as he confirms the U.S. will announce curbs on Chinese investments. When asked about U.S. retaliation against China's alleged violation of intellectual property, Ross told Fox News, "It's not my practice to get ahead of the president and what he announces. There will be limitations on foreign investment." CFIUS, or CFIUS, which is the entity that regulates foreign investment, has new legislation pending both in the House and the Senate, so that will be part of it. And some other action by the president will be the other part of it. He's going to be making some announcements about it. And while the reaction is modest for now, the epic ramp from yesterday is starting to fade into the open. So, something else to brace for. He's going to be making an announcement. Today's Tuesday. I mean, this happens to me every time I've come in here, like on a Tuesday, and 4 days have gone by. And it's like, this is crazy. All this stuff that goes on, like, well, when I left you last week, right? We're talking about all the bombs going off in Houston, Texas, and the guy actually bombed himself up or blew himself up, right? Well, yeah, there was he blew himself up. He went on a 3-week bombing spree that killed 2 people and injured at least 5 others. And the most recent package bomb detonated at a FedEx distribution center near San Antonio early Tuesday. But he used exotic batteries ordered online from Asia to make his bombs, and they bought some equipment from a local Home Depot. So, anyway, another disturbed guy, right? And, of course, the gun battle rages on. We've been hogwashed, David Hogg, right? Some of our readers, this is from Conservative Tribune. I got this. This guy issued some statements about some black people. I don't know why he did this. But anyway, so some of our readers may be familiar with the phrase soft bigotry of low expectations, which in essence is a subtle or subconscious form of prejudice where expectations in regard to the achievements and behaviors of minorities and disadvantaged communities are lower than they would normally be for others. Though they will, Anyway, although they'll deny it, this sort of soft bigotry is a hallmark of many liberals. Moreover, it was put on display by Parkland student David Hogg during a live Twitter stream event on Monday. "We aren't pushing a liberal or conservative agenda here," Hogg ludicrously stated, according to the Independent Journal Review. "We're pushing an agenda to save lives and the future of America." Really? Well, that, of course, is patently false, as Hogg and his fellow anti-gun Parkland students are indeed pushing a liberal agenda of gun control. But Hogg and his friends also appear to be pushing the liberal agenda of racial identity politics and the concept of white privilege, which he seemingly lamented, even as he proceeded to state that he must use the privilege he possesses as a rich white male to speak on behalf of minorities who are apparently unable to do so themselves. As pointed out by Real Clear Politics, Hogg insinuated that if the mass shooting that took place at the school had occurred in a poor black community instead of his more affluent and predominantly white community, the mainstream media wouldn't have cared as much. However, he said the minority victims of gun violence wouldn't have been presented the same opportunity to speak out, no matter how well those people spoke. What? Case in point. What would that be? Case in point would be, I don't know, Chicago? Yeah, probably, huh? Anyway, I'm Papa Bear. You're listening to What's Out There. Don't go away. We'll be back.
Let me assure you that our priority will remain to ensure stability and security.
In order to ensure the security and continuing stability, security
for Canadians.
Galactic Empire!
So this is how liberty dies. With thunderous applause.
Attention L&M Radio Network listeners. Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of the L&M Radio Network by calling 605-562-4203? No smartphone app or internet needed. Saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Call 605-562-4203 to listen to the L&M Radio Network on any phone, anytime, anywhere.
Brothers at Arms is not about being militant, though there is a time and place where that is necessary. Brothers at Arms is not about arguing, though there are times where things may get heated. Brothers at Arms is not about who is right or wrong. There are many sides to each issue. Brothers at Arms is about exploring those sides, about dealing with the issues facing us today, about coming together and, through opposing views, understanding the deeper truths that are in the middle. Join Ira Robinson and Joe Long each Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on LateNightInTheMidlands.com as these Brothers at Arms discuss what you need to know. Brothers at Arms, it's about time. Have you been looking for answers? Have you been seeking the truth but can't seem to find it? Late Night in the Midlands has the answers for you. Whether you are interested in the paranormal, aliens and UFOs, alternative health information, or just a little hope and inspiration, we have a show for you. Late Night in the Midlands, The Secret Teachings, Open Eyes, Red Pill Reality Show, Brothers at Arms, and many more shows. All here on the L&M Network for you to listen to at any time that you want. Everything is free to listen to, and though it is not required, we are listener supported, and all donations are deeply appreciated. You will not find shows like these in the mainstream media. go to latenightinthemidlands.com to listen. The L&M Network, where the truth has no fear.
This is TJ Sanfilippo, host of Navigating the River Styx. Join us each and every Thursday night at midnight here on Late Night in the Midlands Radio Network. Together, we will traverse the forbidden waters of the paranormal, the occult, our hidden history, conspiracies, and things that dwell in the darkness and the deep. Come, grab a seat by the fire away from the night that is closing in. I have tales to tell you. When the clock strikes 12, I invite you to join us here on Late Night in the Midlands Radio Network. Until then, stay safe.
The L&M Radio Network and Late Night in the Midlands depends on you, the listener. Without you, there would be no us. So help us continue to bring you the best guests with the best information and subscribe today. Information on becoming an L&M subscriber can be found at the top of LateNightInTheMidlands.com. Just click the About Subscriptions tab and become part of the family while helping the truth stay alive. And while you're at it, maybe subscriptions aren't for you. A one-time donation helps as well. Click that donate button on the right side of LateNightInTheMidlands.com and help us help you.
Ben Sound is doing the music. bensound.com, free music there. Just got to put in their plug, you know. Anyway, this is LateNightMidlands.com, LNMRadioNetwork.com, and WCET 101.7 FM, Columbia Talk. I'm Papa Bear, and my goodness. We're also on YouTube at What's Out There is the name of the channel. And if you're listening to us on YouTube, then, well, you probably already know that. But anyway, if you want to catch the replays, you can do that at YouTube channel, What's Out There. Anyway, welcome back. Here we go for another, another round of this stuff, I guess. Anyway. Facebook has been under fire this past couple of days. It seems as though they were giving some information so that, well, you know how it goes. Privacy leak, right? For data breach, the whole 9 yards. What happened was they're facing a battle over the use of its data by Cambridge Analytica and their British political research company. And the company reportedly obtained the personal information of about 50 million Facebook users. It didn't get the data through a hack, but reportedly through a Facebook app, which gave the researcher user data and also the data of their friends. Most people forget when they download an app or they sign into a website with Facebook, they're giving those companies a look into their Facebook profile. Your profile can often include your email address, your phone number, as well as your work history and current location. Most people don't realize that if you're sharing that data with friends, then apps that those friends use can see that data too. So, advertisers, Facebook app developers, Facebook ad tech partners can't see your name, your phone number, or your employer. Facebook encrypts and anonymizes all the data to protect your privacy, but it does sell that data in bulk to companies who want to target and track both you and people like you. So if you want to do that, first thing you have to do, how to fix it, first thing you do is you go to your Facebook page And on the right hand, on the far right of your page, you'll see a little symbol. It shows an arrow. Clicks an arrow down, and then you're going to go into your settings from that drop-down menu, okay? And then once you go into your settings, you're going to go to apps. On the left-hand side, you'll see apps, and these are the apps that are tracking you and taking all your information, all right? This is a list of company apps that are tracking you on Facebook. And according to this user, they allowed 54 apps to access the Facebook account. So you click on the Show All button to get the full list of it. All right. And then once you've done that, you can remove all those. Okay. All those ones that are tracking you, you can edit those or you can kill them completely. There are certain things like on this guy's profile that showed his, TripAdvisor knows his email, his age, and oddly, work history. And this guy loves TripAdvisor, but this feels a little bit like a reach, you know. But anyway, and it also shows, you know, how long ago it was accessed. This is crazy, you know. But anyway, if you scroll down a bit further in settings in the app sections, you'll have more options. The two most important ones are you can use Facebook to log in and play games anonymously. And then we also suggest you click on the app's others use section, okay? And then in the others use, you can see all the data you're letting friends see. And that data is being seen by the apps that your friends use, okay? So that there is, this might help you if you're still in Facebook. A lot of people are leaving Facebook. They're going into places like MeWe and Steemit and some other places. But, you know, if you're still in Facebook, you can do that. And also, because of this problem with Cambridge Analytica, I imagine Facebook is going to be changing their policy, okay? Now, you have to realize that the internet was discovered inadvertently or by accident, basically. You know what happens when boys get playing with toys, right? And next thing you know, voila, you've got the internet. Well, the Facebook thing is like, oh, well, if we can round up a whole bunch of people and harvest their profiles, get information on them, as a matter of fact, we'll make it a social website. And not only will they, you know, not mind sharing it, they will do it daily. They'll show you what they're eating. They'll take pictures of their dessert and their cats and their families, and they'll show you what their hobbies are. Pictures of their new cars and new homes and things like that. And you know what? And the worst thing, they'll even tell you when they're going on vacation, which is really not too smart. You know, people are going to come and rob you while you're gone. So be careful what you put on Facebook, or even if you're in Facebook, okay? Venezuela. I wanted to touch on this one because it seems as though you got a lot of people are saying, oh, look at Venezuela, the place has gone to crap, you know, and because, well, socialism, right? All right. Well, they've got some pretty bad inflation, all right? And what they're going to do is, to make up for that bad inflation they've got, they're going to kind of delete some zeros off their currencies. All right. So, to give you an idea, they want to drop 3 zeros right off it. Because it's like, in a country where a dozen eggs can cost 250,000 bolivars, which is $5, amid worsening inflation, he would chop 3 zeros off the currency, arguably bringing the price for those eggs down to 250 as opposed to 250,000. Okay, so can you imagine that? If you've got $1,000, whoop, you've only got $1 today. So you know that's how bad inflation is pretty well hit. And be careful, because I'm thinking that when they do the reset, the currency reset and revaluation, that the same thing is going to happen here. All right. So be careful. If you have money, spend it wisely. It doesn't hurt to have some on hand, cash on hand. And remember, if you're using cryptocurrency, it's only going to be good online, only if you can get online. Okay, because you have to access your wallet, the whole 9 yards, make the transaction. You're going to want local currency, something that the locals are going to recognize as having some sort of value. All right? That's the only thing that's going to get you through. And now these are the times where it could go either way. All right? Because gold and silver is always going to be a hedge. It's always going to hold its value. To give you an idea, back in the early 1900s, with a $20 gold ounce, you could buy an extremely nice suit and a nice pair of shoes, okay, for that $20 gold piece. And I mean a high-quality suit and real nice shoes. So today, you take that $20 gold piece, you take it to the bank, and you get your $1,300 and whatever it is dollars for that piece of gold. You can go out and buy yourself a real nice suit and a real nice pair of shoes, okay? And the way we've divvied it up over the years and devalued it and basically done the same thing with the dollar, okay? You might have enough change left over to, I don't know, get a Happy Meal or maybe a burger. I don't know, but the price of burgers these days, you never know. So basically the same value is there, okay? But this whole thing, what gets me is that they want to jump ship, though. They want to start using the dollar, okay? He says taking out three zeros doesn't in any way solve any of the causes of hyperinflation. It's just a cosmetic fix that won't work. See, Maduro's announcement is just his latest attempt to control runaway inflation. He's already launched a new cryptocurrency, the Petro. An executive order by President Trump, however, has banned U.S. transactions in the Petro, which U.S. officials have dubbed a scam. Few see the Petro as a general solution, and Maduro's new redenomination plan appears to be a tactical admission that the government is seeking another answer. One thing is certain, the debate on how to halt hyperinflation is at the center of a presidential election that opposition leaders have called a farce and have boycotted. But Falcon, a former ally of leftist firebrand Hugo Chavez, who before dying of cancer in 2013 handpicked Maduro, insists he has a chance. The Yankee dollar, Falcon says, will help him win. Falcon's dollarization plan has appeared to hit a nerve with the country's impoverished people. In Latin America, Ecuador, Panama, and El Salvador, they all use the U.S. dollar, okay? Constraining budgetary spending and the setting of interest rates while providing monetary stability. Under Falcon's plan, everything from salaries to taxes to food would be priced in dollars, and for a certain period, low-income earners would receive $25 monthly subsidy through a so-called solidarity card. The prices of everything are calculated at the rate of the dollar here. The only thing that isn't dollarized is its salaries, Falcon said in an interview with the Washington Post. We want people to recover their purchasing power. We need them to. Falcon's dollarization plan, analysts say, may present Venezuela with a bigger fix than Maduro's redenomination. One is a superficial make-up-like change, and the other is an actual restructuring aimed at stopping inflation, Leiden said. That's not to say dollarization doesn't carry risks. It would bind the hands of the government on monetary policy and would leave Venezuela's economy under the influence of a currency whose value it cannot control. Dollarizing is like cutting out an important arm you need, an important tool in exchange for stopping hyperinflation as fast as possible. Leiden said, "It's a debate I wish was happening among academics, not through electoral propaganda." And we know how the electoral propaganda goes. The electoral process is all propaganda. What was it Frank Zappa said? Politics is the entertainment division of the military-industrial complex. All right? Exactly. Oh, goodness. Let's see. There's so much stuff here. Zero Hedge is a really good place to get news if you want to find stuff. Tesla bond shorts hit record high. Stock slumps below $300. Okay. I mean, there's Facebook shares are sliding again. Home price surge continues. The prices of houses going up. I don't know. Bitcoin exchange traded funds. You know, I don't know why people are jumping into Bitcoin because, see, like, here we go. I get back to my religious thing here, or spiritual, or whatever. The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. Okay. And the thing is that the internet is the only place you're going to use that stuff. You got to have power, and you've got to have the web, okay, or some sort of electronics. Not only that, but cryptocurrency. What crypto does is it mines data. That's all it does, okay? It mines data. What if it has no data to mine? All right. But then again, I mean, I'm sure they're not going to run out of data to mine. The thing is, if you run out of power, you know, if power is down or down in a certain area for a while, there's not going to be any generating of Bitcoin, okay, or very little. It's not going to happen. So it's you know, the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. So, you know, who are you looking up to? Who's your God? Who you worshiping? If you think they're going to save you, it's not going to happen, because all they have to do is take away the internet. You take it away, you've got nothing, you know, and everything you put into it, anything that's a hard investment, is going to lose. It's going to go. So be careful of where you're putting your money, you know. Now, Russia's stockpiling gold, okay? Another one from Zero Hedge. The U.S.'s overhang of debt and looming trade war is worrisome on many levels, as the value of the dollar keeps decreasing and the national debt spiraling. So, what should we make of the fact that the Central Bank of Russia has been steadily amassing gold reserves since 2015? By the end of 2017, its total gold reserves rose to 1,828.56 tons. Okay, so they just passed China with the fifth largest gold reserves. Russia's been aggressively increasing its gold reserves for a reason. It has seen the U.S. dollar dominate as a global currency and is working with China to end the U.S. Western currency supremacy. Their strategy appears to be working. Russia and China are in the midst of rumors of introducing gold-backed futures to circumvent the U.S. dollar. The U.S. dollar has had no gold backing since 1933, nor has the U.S. increased its gold reserves for a decade. With speculation of Russia and China working on a gold-backed currency, a shift in monetary power from west to east seems to be their ambitions. But we have to stop that, right? The situation between East and West is exacerbated by recent tensions between Russia and the UK, since the alleged Kremlin poisoning of former spy Sergei Skripal and his daughter. British Prime Minister Theresa May has ousted 23 Russian diplomats from Great Britain. Geopolitical tension is again high. It seems Russia may have tossed aside Das Kapital as its economic guidebook. Not only is creating a gold-backed currency appearing more likely month over month, but Russia has also brought inflation way down over the past decade. More importantly, Russia continues to lower their national debt, while the U.S. has been increasing its debt to a record $21 trillion. Russia's financial strategy is making a country less vulnerable to volatile geopolitics. Not only is it a significant player in gold, but it's also the world's third largest gold producer, with the Central Bank of Russia buying up its supplies. During the past decade, Russia has mined more than 2,000 tons of gold, with tonnage expected to increase by 400 tons annually by 2030. Russia and China understand the value of real physical gold, a lesson that the U.S. has forgotten while reveling in worthless paper money. If Russia and China establish a 100% gold-backed currency, it inevitably changes the game in the West. The dollar will continue to devalue against the gold at a rapid rate. I was just talking about this, huh? Yeah. Ultimately, the battle will not be Eastern versus Western dominance. The real battle, long term, will be between the U.S. dollar and gold. Okay? And Voltaire said, remember this, paper money eventually returns to its intrinsic value. Zero. Okay? So, and this is why I say be ready, because these guys, it's already... Something has to give, because you can go ahead and do your special drawing rights, your SDRs, but if your currency isn't backed by gold, or your drawing rights aren't backed by gold, then what makes you think anybody is going to deal with you? It's it is kind of mind-boggling. But then again, how many deals has the U.S. backed out of? Okay, I mean, we've backed out of a lot of stuff. We expelled some more Russian diplomats too, and we thought the 36 that we put out before was all they had. Oh no, we bopped out some more on the West Coast. But apparently, Greece, Austria, Portugal. They're not going to expel the Russian diplomats. The United States and its European allies are expelling dozens of Russian diplomats in a coordinated response to the poisoning of former Russian spy Sergei Skripal, right? And his daughter in the UK, although there is no solid evidence on who was really behind the attack. It's said to be the largest collective expulsion of Russian intelligence officers in history. However, as Keep Talking Greece reports, some countries refuse to join this remarkable show of solidarity. Now, this whole poisoning thing, we know what nefarious things that the three-letter agencies are capable of doing, willing to do, more than willing to do, if you will. So who is to say that our spy agencies didn't go over there and, I don't know, take care of that and try to make it look like someone else? Okay? That's the deal. Okay. Russia denies any role in the attack of Sergei Skripal and his daughter, Yulia, in Salisbury, southern England. The pair remain in a critical but stable condition in the hospital. EU leaders agreed last week it was highly likely Russia was behind the nerve agent poisoning. Theresa May said, President Putin's regime is carrying out acts of aggression against our shared values and interests within our continent and beyond. As a sovereign European democracy, the United Kingdom will stand shoulder to shoulder with the EU and with NATO to face down these threats together. The Russian Foreign Ministry said the moves demonstrated a continuation of a confrontational path. It goes without saying that this unfriendly act by this group of countries will not go without notice, and we will react to it, its statement said. Countries announced that they were making the same move in solidarity on Monday, where the United States, 60 diplomats in the U.S., and the EU countries, France, there were 4, Germany 4, Poland 4, the Czech Republic 3, Lithuania 3, Denmark 2, Netherlands 2, Italy 2, Spain 2, Estonia 1, Croatia 1, Finland 1, Hungary 1, Latvia 1, Romania 1, Sweden 1, Ukraine 13, Canada 4, plus the rejection of 3 further applications from Russia, Albania 2, Australia 2, Norway 1, FIROM 1. What's FIROM? Anyway, late Monday, Ireland said to expel a member of Russian diplomats in line with EU countries. EU countries that have said they have no intention of expelling diplomats include Austria, Greece, Portugal, although they said they support the UK and condemn the poisoning. On its part, New Zealand said it can't find Russian spies to expel. Does that means Russia's doing a good job, huh? Yeah. Democrats are at it again. There's a Democrat here that says take up arms against Trump. And there was one of them, if you remember correctly, remember when Charlton Heston, real gun rights guy, right? From my cold dead hands, okay? There was a Democratic representative. I don't know. This was, I would never even think. He says, from my cold dead hands, right? And this congressman, I believe, I'm not sure, I'm going to have to look this up again, and he says, well, okay, sure, if that's the way you want it. That is a direct threat. That is a direct threat to the people of the nation, to everyone who owns a gun, and everyone who loves this nation, who wants to fight for this nation, to keep it our country, to keep it a free country. Okay? And to hear people say that, and say, from your cold dead hands? Okay. Okay? Seriously? I mean, if that's okay with you, I mean, wow. This is not right. All right, people, keep your eyes open, because your own representatives are stabbing you in the back. They're not helping you at all. And it's crazy. I mean, do your due diligence. Get out there. If you're going to vote, get out there and vote. If, check your candidates out. Even check out the Republicans. They're not all pure, all right? Watch for the people who are, backing Trump, because there's a plan going on. And the plan's going through, and there's a coup going on, an active coup, and Mueller's behind it. A lot of government people are behind it, and they're getting caught, and they're getting nailed. And I'm loving it. I'm watching this all unfold. But anyway, big stuff coming up. Be careful. Watch out this weekend. Be prepared for the weekend just in case, because, you've got gold-backed currency that's being done over there in the East, and they're all, like I said, the BRICS nations are all getting together, and if they're throwing their currencies into a basket, they're not going to want to take fiat. It's not going to happen. But we'll keep our eyes open. Anyway, I'll be back again tomorrow. Catch me on YouTube at What's Out There. Show us yeah. Right. Late Night in the Midlands.com, LNMRadioNetwork.com, and 101.7 WCET Columbia Talk. And that, my friends, is What's Out There.
Well, we need to know a couple of things. Number one, we need to know how the world's premier law enforcement agency managed to lose 5 months' worth of text. And what's also troubling is in the text we do have, they're discussing how to avoid text being captured and secured. So what's missing is important, but also what's there is important. It is manifest bias, not just against Trump, but against his kids, against his business interests. There's a text where they hope the Trump hotel fails. That is a level of bias that you rarely see, and you never see from law enforcement officers. What's also troubling to me is this text that Johnny Ratcliffe found last night about this secret society. Now, I have no clue what that means, because that was not the phraseology I used, but it's the day after the election, and it's the same two people that we're discussing a little bit later in the text, the damage they had done with the Clinton investigation and how they could, quote, fix it and make it right.
What's Out There?